All right, so today I got Zdiorx right here, putting on his chain, dripping up. Yeah, man,
What
it's
up? What
dripping.
up?
I was just gonna ask you a few questions about like your music and like how you came to do music and stuff.
Yeah,
So
of course.
just give me a little bit of background about you.
Yeah. So I started making music. Well, started making music back in 2015, I think 2016. We used to, before I was a Christian, before I got saved, we used to be at parties and freestyle when we got high, me and my brother. And then when in like mid 2017, maybe early 2018, he bought a whole bunch of studio equipment and was like, "Yo, like we're gonna do this for real." So we started recording music, and it was horrible. Like it was very bad music, um, content wise, and just how it sounded was really rough. And then in 2018, I got saved. I took a year off from music. The Bible talks about being made a new creation, and I took that very literally. Where I was like, "Nah, like I used to make music. That's not who I am anymore. You know, God doesn't want me doing that." And so I
Yeah,
stopped entirely. And then I met Mark Stevens, Mission from AYNOM from Sacramento in like mid 2019, and they were like, "No, bro, like you should keep doing music." And then they helped me actually fund my first studio.
yeah,
I've been a CHH artist, Christian rap, since about 2020 when I released my first song.
yeah. That's cool. Um, I don't know if you mind me asking, just like why music? Like, what inspired you to do music?
Yeah. So my brother had a lot of influence on me and like wanting to do music. So when I was still in the world before I was saved, we were just making music because we were like, oh yeah, we could get rich off this. We can make it quick. And then we realized like, oh, there's some talent here. There's something here. We're passionate about it. And so I became passionate about music very quickly. And my family's really musically talented. Back in like the 60s or 50s, my uncles used to like go and travel the world. They were part of a quartet and they used to sing. So like music's always kind of been, I guess, in my veins. But when I got saved, I took that year off and was like, no, that's not who I am. That's who I was. And then God just kind of prunes some dead fruit from me. And was like, no, like I gave you this talent, use it.
Yeah,
And so I was like, okay, you know. And so I started making music again. And now I'd say I use it more as like it's more so a gift. So I don't I don't do it for me. I do it for God. When I get on stage, I'm worshiping. Um, I have this analogy where I say that I'm looking vertically, meaning like I'm looking up at God. I'm not looking horizontally at the
yeah,
people around me or at my peers. I'm more worried about performing for God. So now I think I do it more as a heart posture of worship, but then also like, you know, to inspire people to chase their God given dreams.
yeah. That's really good. So like, you're not like super big right now, but you've got a following, I'd say. And what is like your goal with music? How far do you think you're gonna bring it? And like just like where's your limit at, I guess?
Sky's the limit. um, Man, I don't know. I've been kind of thinking about this a lot and praying on this a lot, man. And I have a lot of things I still haven't accomplished, a lot of goals that I still have not achieved that I want to achieve. I think my long-term goal is really just to inspire people to live out their God-given dreams, talents, and gifts. That like if God has called you to something, to just do it. You know, I think that's my big goal, and I want people to take away is like, hey, like anything is possible when you're walking with the Father, um, and if it's in His will, it'll happen.
Yeah, that's good. So I know you were also saying that Michael had a kind of an impact on what you do, right?
Yeah, me and Michael um, got acquainted earlier this year. I asked him to be on Fashion, but um, yeah, I think Michael V has definitely had an impact on me. we're both mainly we're both bigger guys, like and it's just really inspiring because you don't see a lot of bigger guys getting it on in like
Yeah.
the industry. You don't see a lot of bigger guys going after it, and so I've always been really inspired by Michael because um, he did it before I did, and he did it before a lot of people did, and he really inspired me to be like, okay, well, if he's doing this, then there's room for me. Um, he also really helped me through some insecurities with myself. I'm not gonna lie. Um, he I get kind of insecure sometimes about how I look, and I was at Holy Smoke with him, and was at the Holy Smoke Fest earlier this year, and like dude ripped his shirt off in the middle of the stage. I kind of like I had some insecurities by myself, and then was like, dang, if Michael can do it, then I can do it. And so yeah, Michael's had an impact on my career, just seeing like a bigger guy get it and being like, oh well,
Yeah.
if he's doing it, and doing it to the scale he's doing it, then I can do that too, no questions asked.
Yeah. Also, like kind of aligning with that, like the community of the CHH community is like it's a small community, but it's very like connected, interconnected. I think that's one
Yeah.
of the like greatest things about it. It's like in the music industry, just the normal like whatever, you know, it's not
Hmm.
very connected, but in the CHH community, it's very like connected and like
Hmm.
almost like a family.
Yeah. Yeah. I always think of it, we're supposed to be one body, and I think CHH, although we don't do the most perfect job, but we do a better job of showing that we're one body.
Yeah. Yeah. So obviously no one is gonna like get to their like best performance like easily or
Hmm.
like super easy, just slide through, right? What was like some of the biggest obstacles that you had to like overcome like to get where you are today?
Man, a lot of insecurities, a lot of like second guessing myself. Like we had a lot of songs done, and I'd be like, no, I don't really like that song. But some of those songs ended up being my biggest songs. Um, I think the other thing is man, you gotta just, it sounds like a cliche, but you gotta trust God with your career. And sometimes that can be hard because you can be like, oh, well, I'm gonna go make this move and this is gonna happen. When in reality, it's like, hey, we don't walk by sight, we walk by faith. And so a lot of it is putting trust in God, but a lot of it was conquering insecurities of like, you know, me being insecure about how my voice sounded, or me being insecure about how I perform on stage, but then realizing like, hey, none of this matters. Like people are enjoying me, people are enjoying the music, and it's making an impact.
Yeah. And I think in James chapter 1 or 2, it says you can never really say what's gonna happen tomorrow because no one really
Mhm.
knows. Only God knows. What's like your favorite thing to do? Just anything basically.
And anything,
Yeah, of course.
man. I used to play a lot of video games, but now I don't because I sold my PlayStation. But I think my favorite thing to do is just be around community, be around people, kick it with the boys, with my friends, and also I think hanging out with students as well. I work for an organization called Youth for Christ. We get to hang around a lot of students, and just like getting to kick it with them, speak life into them, but probably just being around people, chopping it up.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the CHH community got me where I am today. Uh,
Mm.
Actually, a year ago, we went to youth camp uh, down in Pilot Lake,
Mm-hmm.
and it's on this mountain. It's like a great camp, and basically, I was like, that's last year is when I actually met God for the first time,
Yeah.
where it was like actually shown to me His love and His like grace and everything, and like that just really changed my life. And then on the way home, we were like, it was like a 2 hour drive, and we were just listening to music and worship, and like the last 20 minutes we were just listening to Christian rap, and I was like, what is this song? And I was just like asking a bunch of questions. And that's when I think God really like spoke to me through the music. And
Mhm.
obviously, like I used to Miles Minnick, he played a big role in where I am today just because like I listen to his music and like I'm learning from it. It's like very
Mhm.
edifying in a way. And you're like, he's dissimilar to normal artists. You're talking about you're praising God and you're like giving him that light and you're just like teaching good teachings instead of all the stuff a normal artist would usually teach about
Mhm.
like alcohol and stuff, which I think that really played a big role in where I'm at.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Man, praise God.
What is your favorite songs and artists right now?
Man, gee. I love Not Clyde.
Not Clyde.
Um, Not Clyde is different. Um, I love Not Clyde so much. Um, I really like his song Range right now with What Up RG. It just dropped last night, but it's fire. So I love Not Clyde. I'm fortunate enough to have done a song with Not Clyde. So um, might be another one on the way. We'll see. Um, who else? I'm a big fan of 350. I love his flows. I love his music. Emilio Sarabia, gotta plug the boys. Power Trip just dropped, and I genuinely love that record. Um, excuse me, not just because I'm friends with him, but I genuinely love that record. Trayvon, I think my boy Trayvon from Manteca, California, one of the most versatile artists I know. Like he's incredibly talented. Foreign, I love Foreign down in SoCal. I really love the SoCal the Cali artists.
Yeah.
John Keith is amazing. As for songs, what's been in my rotation, um, the Use This Gospel remix is
Oh
crazy.
yeah, it's fire.
Yeah. Italy by Paris Perez. It just dropped too. That song's insane. Lunch Table by Eric Nelson. That one has been in my rotation heavy. Um, man, who else? There's a lot, man. There's a lot I could name. MIA, John Keith. I've been playing that a lot too. So that's just a
Yeah,
couple.
yeah. I think some of my favorite artists right now are like No Big Deal, Scooty Wop. I love his album he dropped like a
Mhm.
few weeks back. It's fire. I can't stop listening to it, to be honest. It's very good. And then I don't know if you introduced me to this guy, but Lazarus.
Oh, I love Laz.
Oh my gosh, I've been listening to like so if you guys don't know, he's like he takes songs off like TikTok or whatever, like mainstream songs, and then he makes them into like Christian alternatives basically. And it's like done very well. It's very good. And to anybody who doesn't know what Christian rap is or anything, I'll link a playlist in the description and you can check that out. And it's got all like the mainstream, non-mainstream. It's got smaller people, it's got bigger people, so it's pretty good. It's got a lot of people on there. Uh, do you think that you? I mean, I know you're like a younger artist, right? You're
Mhm.
very young, and you've gotten to like a very successful point in your career very quickly. Uh,
Yeah,
do you think that you'll ever sign to a label or you'll stay independent?
man, it's hard to say. I'll probably end up staying independent, but you never know.
Yeah, I know it's very hard for artists to like not sign because like it usually gets you more people who will listen to your songs and stuff. And I think it's very hard to like just think about it and just not sign like because it's difficult to get that like that traction if you're not signed with a label. And so
Yeah,
I think you're doing a great job right now because you're
appreciate it.
independent and you're doing good stuff. Got good
Appreciate
fire
it.
songs. Fashion, that's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Kevin Davis, he's actually got a song I like right now. It's called "I Suck at Intros,"
Oh
and
my gosh, it's your
dude, that song is
boy.
fire. It
It's your
inspires me every
boy.
day. Yeah, he's actually going to be on this episode of the podcast, guys. So listen to after this interview and we'll get to him. But yeah, Kevin's also another white, bigger guy. And I think it's also like, yeah, I know what you're saying. It's like it's like hard to get that traction when you're like a person that's like usually not like associated with the community of music. So
Mm-hmm.
like, but I think you guys are doing great with your stuff. I think it's very good.
Appreciate it, man.
And I just had two more questions for you. So,
Yeah.
what makes the perfect sandwich? What ingredients for Mr.
Oh
Zdiorx?
gosh, a perfect sandwich. Okay. Sourdough bread. Okay.
Oh,
And then a little bit of mustard.
starting
Okay.
off with the bangers.
Pickles.
Pickles.
And then a bed of lettuce.
Mm.
Salami. Yeah. Salami. You could spice it up and put turkey in it
Ooh.
if you want. Some Swiss cheese or provolone or cheddar jack. I'm going to say cheddar
Ooh.
jack. Cheddar jack cheese, pepperoncinis, a little bit of mayo, and another slice of sourdough bread.
Yeah. And with the bread, do you like it toasted or just raw, right out of the package?
It depends. Depends on how I'm feeling.
Yeah. So, scenario time. The world's ending tomorrow. You have
Okay.
all the money in the world.
Okay.
Where are you going to eat and who are you bringing?
Man, you said you said I have all the money in the world.
You have I'd say probably a decent amount of money.
Okay.
A good amount.
Um, man, we're going to Ruth's Chris Steakhouse.
Mm,
We'll bring I'm gonna bring all the boys, and I'm gonna bring some of the youth students
yeah.
that I work with, and we gonna feast.
Yeah. Yeah. So, last question. I don't know how to phrase this. Do you like how do you look at like bringing people to the to heaven, right? Like how do you bring people to the kingdom? Do you prefer doing that through music or like one-on-one conversations or like a group kind of thing?
Man, it really depends. I think the Lord can work however God wants to work, so it really depends. Um, I love one-on-one conversations, but I also know that music can make an impact. Um,
Yeah.
I'd say there's no like specific way I prefer to bring people to kingdom. It's just like, I'm gonna use the gifts that God's given me.
Yeah. All right, well, man. Well, thanks for coming on. I'll put your stuff in the description.
Really.
So go check him out. Thank you, man, for coming on.
Of course.